Hi guys, my name is Alyssa and welcome back to my channel. We are going to talk about the Divine Feminine. Now for all of those people who don't want to listen to me discuss what the Divine Feminine is, you can find your moon sign in the pinned comment below. You can click on the timestamp and you can go straight to your moon sign. If you do not know your moon sign, Google it. I am really excited to do this video, so let's just do it. We are going to talk about the Divine Feminine. Now, if you follow along with any sort of spiritual thing, you're going to get people talking about it, and they're going to say a lot of different ideas, but pretty much what you're going to gather is that the Divine Feminine is coming back in the age of Aquarius to free the world of pain. This is basically predestined. It's in Revelation. It's in a lot of different other foreseed events. So like, what is the Divine Feminine? And why do guys get really upset when you talk about it? The Divine Feminine is not feminism. Okay, the Divine Feminine is actually life itself. See, in the age of Pisces, we lived in a world that was created after God, the masculine God. The age of Aquarius is about balancing that masculine God with the feminine God. Divine means perfect. Only God is perfect. That means that there is a perfect life source being, and there is a perfect God source being. I mean, masculine, whatever. So what we can deduce from this, and actually we can look into Greek mythology, any other mythologies. I really like Greek because it does align with astrology way better. I mean, obviously Greek and Roman both do, but what we can say is at the beginning of the world, there was God and there was nothing. Nothing in Greek was called chaos. She was a void. And then they had God, or Eros, love. There is love and there is void. Now Eros loved chaos because that's what love does. It just love. So we don't really have to go into any sort of special conditions to figure out that that is true. Eros loves the void. Why does Eros love the void? Because it can fill her up. And that is why she is female, because anything that collects is female. So the Holy Grail, the womb, the female areas. Women themselves are naturally a negative space that can have things put into her. For instance, a baby. Women carry the coding of the Divine Feminine, where men carry the coding of the Divine Masculine. But here's the deal. Men are the space between God and life. Women are life. This is why in the Bible they talk about the first man, Adam, as being created first. The reason why he was created first, he was created from God in his image to be more like God from life matter, XY chromosome. But to create a woman, she would have to be created by the Creator. And in this case, she would have to have masculine God qualities. But she is a negative space. She can be filled with something. This puts her more directly in line with Divine Feminine. It shows that a man is actually split between the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine. A man cannot fully be Divine Masculine because Divine Masculine can never be a body. As soon as Divine Masculine comes into a body, he is also man. But female can be divine because it is life itself. This life is chaos. Love is order and structure. So females represent chaos and males represent structure. In your chart, your moon sign is your chaos. We've tried to treat chaos over time, calling it hysteria, making women feel bad about themselves for their emotional nature or their emotional gifts and their emotional power. But in general, this is what keeps life going. If it wasn't for a woman's lower heart, we would cease to exist. We should all know that by now. The womb is the creatrix. It was first. God entered it and created structure from it. Our bodies are created by the Creator out of the creatrix. Out of chaos, we exist. So your moon sign is also your physical life, right? It's our physical body. We have to be a vessel for some spiritual essence, and that is what our body is. Back a long time ago, we were all pagans. We understood the power of our body and the power of our femininity, but in the age of Pisces, we had to realize, in order to progress, in order to gain structure and to be a more civilized society, we had to learn about the divine masculine. At the end of the age, the divine masculine sort of took over, to the point where now females feel that they also need to align with divine masculine energy, calling that divine feminine. And it's just not. Our body is a vessel, man or female, but men are created in the image of the penetrator. Females are alchemists. They can take dark matter and turn it into something more beautiful. They can take water and turn it into wine. Take something ordinary and make it extraordinary. That's what a female's body is, because it's the power of the body, where a man shares the power of the body with the power of his dick. You can find what you need to do to honor your own feminine inside of you, instead of ignoring it, as we like to ignore our moon sign. We all do. Our moon sign is a frustrating piece inside of us. It's very important, but we normally go through so much trauma, emotional trauma, we choose to forget it. And I'm telling you, you can't forget it anymore, because the divine feminine is back, meaning you need to pay attention. This is the promise of the new age, when people have full control over their own chaos, and they love it. And they love their chaos. And we can be a little bit wild, because it's the structure in this world that is causing people to do bad things, because there's a part of their body that is dying to get out. And so we are killing strangers so we don't kill the ones that we love. And all you have to do is love yourself. And that was Marilyn Manson, the good song. You should all listen to it to figure out why you need to love your divine feminine, this perfect thing that we think is imperfect. We want to be robots, but we're not, because we're better than that. But we all have our moon sign. We all have parts of us that are understanding of this divine feminine, our life, our physical matter. And so you can find your moon sign now. If you are interested in this, in the moon sign, I do also have another way of looking at your moon, and that is on my Patreon. It's something that I developed, but you can learn a little bit more about progress in your body and what your life source actually wants from you to help you move through life a little bit easier. So let's start. If your moon is in Aries, you are very closely aligned to divine feminine, even though you might feel very masculine. There's a masculine idea that says, to shove your emotions down, which the Aries moon likes to do, or at least go in an anger direction with it. And so when you start to feel angry, you start to blame your emotions and call them dumb. And the reason why you have this anger drive behind your emotions is because you are meant to make the world bounce. And what I mean is, when you get out into the world, you need to treat it like it's your fucking dance studio. You're on top of it, making it move, making it react to you. Your emotions are strong, and they come from this dramatic, fiery place because they're supposed to be invasive in people's lives. Trying to act like they're not, or that might be bad, is what actually causes them pain and hurt. And you might be inflicting that on yourself and not even realizing. People should have a reaction to you, and it's important. So if you can't figure out how to be okay with people's reaction of you, and not just say, I just don't even care. You need to care, for one, that people have a reaction, because that's part of you. You care about it, you want to know why. But then you need to figure out why they're having a reaction and deciding whether or not that's the reaction you want to give. Once you have ownership and control over what you are naturally doing, you will be able to make the reaction that you want, because you have power, and your power is your moon. The divine feminine brings you this spectacular power in the sign of the Ram, in taking charge. In this life, you are meant to take charge and to move people. And I say bounce because you're not supposed to break it. You're supposed to make it move. Make it work for you. Change it up. Move yourself in there. Utilize your gifts. to make the world a better place. And that is your Aries moon. Thank you very much. Hi guys, this is for you if you have your Taurus moon. Taurus moon is exalted, so there needs to be a part of you that realizes and understands that in your divine feminine, you are the greatest. You have that already on lock, but a lot of Taurus moons don't necessarily feel like they are the greatest. Feel like you might desire and need things that are not practical. But in reality, you're meant to partake in the comforts of regular, everyday life and to expand that. And that means being materialistic, liking soft things, enjoying yourself, drinking, being merry. But you can't put that into the dark part of you, because once you push it down, it comes up in a negative way when you're not looking, making you sort of bitchy, mean, unhappy. Now, with that Taurus moon, you also need to know, not only are you the greatest, but you need to say everything that you feel, because the world wants it. So you need to be in touch with your emotions, and that means listening to them and letting them talk for you. There's a part of us that doesn't realize when our emotions are talking to us, because we are so inclined to shut them out. But when you listen to yourself and listen to your instincts and your fears and your desires, you start to realize that everything that you are experiencing is actually something the entire world might also be experiencing and needing you to help with, or maybe just needing to hear your perspective because they're so lost. The color of my camera is changing. It's so weird. Okay, so you need to know that you have great feelings, and they're being Gaia, chaos, or self are talking to you to get those to the world. So pay attention. And that is your Taurus moon, your divine feminine, and I will talk to you later, guys. Bye. So for you Gemini moons, having a Gemini moon can be sort of bipolar. And I say that a lot when I would read charts for people. You kind of understand that you have this bipolar nature. You want things to be black and white, so you go back and forth. And you don't necessarily have to fight that. You more so have to embrace it. And how you embrace it is to understand that you do see two sides, they just don't connect. And what happens then is that we tend to like one side more than the other. And that's the side we want to align with, but you can't do that, because as soon as you align with one side of your feeling that you like better, you are blinded to the other side, meaning you will stay in bad relationships, you will allow yourself to be hurt, you will take somebody's side just because you trust them. There's a lot of pain that you inflict on yourself because you refuse to look at both sides simultaneously. What we call this can also be you're afraid of your own ambivalence, because ambivalence is thinking two very different, very opposite feelings at the exact same time. Say, like, for instance, you are full of love and full of fear all at once. How does that even happen? What you have to do is look at the love, but also look at the fear. The fear and the instincts are telling you something so that you are not blindsided, so that you are not confused later, so that you do see the truth, because you are capable of it. But if you're ignoring certain things, you won't see it. Now, there's another interesting thing about you is that because of this duality that you have, and that you are mental when you are feeling your emotions, you might not allow yourself to cry, or you might feel weak when you cry. But I want you to know that anytime you feel the pain, the hurt side, and you cry, you give yourself power. And why do you? Because you are connecting your mind to speak directly to your feelings. And when your mind is directly related to your feelings, you are more powerful. Your body gives power to your mind. You're feeding your higher consciousness by developing it in what is the truest idea of who you are as a person. And knowing your power allows you to head off in the right direction. And you can look at it, for instance, you could be like, I need to go to college because I want to be a lawyer. But on the other side, you're like, I want to be a dancer. I'm going to tell you, you need to dance, because your creative side is going to lead you in the right direction. Why? Because creation is the part of the divine feminine. Creation is the womb of life. If you are looking and you're debating between creating something or learning from somebody else, take the road less traveled. But you got to be willing to look at it, and you got to be willing to deal with the hurt that will come with it. So thank you, Gemini, and I will talk to you later. This is for you Cancer moons out there. The moon is at home in Cancer because the moon naturally rules Cancer. This means there is an ebb and flow to your relationship with your moon. Ebb and flow probably to the relationship with your mother, to the relationship with your feelings. You're a relationally emotional person and you are going up and down. One thing I would have you do is pay attention to the moon cycles because they do affect you more than everybody else. You are going to ebb and flow based on where the moon is and how it's directly attacking you. So the biggest thing that the Cancer moon needs to realize is that you cannot apologize for living. In fact, this means that you need to love yourself for every time you make a choice that requires you to live. You make a decision to leave a bad relationship. You make a decision to walk away from a situation that wasn't serving you anymore. You need to forgive yourself and love yourself for these things. And you need to stop apologizing to other people because other people do not have your best interests. They like to latch on to the Cancer moon in order to find empathy there, in order to find sympathy, in order to find emotional healing. So by you feeling like you aren't allowed to live in the same type of way that other people are is something that I think you just need to apologize to yourself for. Apologize to you on a regular basis for putting yourself in situations that aren't healthy for you and don't serve you any purpose. Allowing yourself to love these parts that are negative, when in reality it's more like self-preservation and being able to tell the difference, because you are a healer and you're a feeler. So when you get close to someone, you better love that person. When you get close to anybody, you better love it. You better like it. You shouldn't be afraid of it. You're attracted to this darkness, so allow yourself to see what is truly dark and mysterious and intriguing and beautiful, and what is actually evil, lurking in the shadows. And there is a difference. Anyway, Cancer, that is your moon and your divine femininity. Leo moon. I'm going to say this once and I'm going to say it again and again. Do not hesitate. Create. Leo rules the heart. So when you got your biggest heart down into your feelings, you need to realize that you're not making the right moves that you can actually be proud of unless they have to do with you creating something from your heart. You might feel like you're in a position where you got to take care of your family or work really hard on something you don't like just for a little bit. But I'm going to tell you that that is what kills your body. It runs you ragged. It makes you unhappy. It ruins your relationships. It makes your dramatic love affair with life a dramatic hate fest and anxiety and depression. You have to be willing to create and curb your anger at your circumstances, because your circumstances are contingent on what you choose to do. A Leo moon, if anything, has the power in their own life source of making people attracted to it, to bring people in to what you have going on, even if it's not perfect yet. And so you need to embrace that part of you, that part that says maybe you're a little bit different, maybe you want to do something that's a little bit different than the rest of the world, but it's uniquely you, and that is where you're going to find your power. So do not hesitate. Create. Tell yourself that. Wake up in the morning. Say, I'm not going to hesitate. I'm going to create. I'm just going to do it. Reach into that and work it out. And that is your Leo moon, and I'll talk to you later. Bye. Okay, Virgo moon, this is for you. Your divine femininity wants you to allow blind love. The reason why is because you're very nitpicky, very detail-oriented naturally, and it is something that I'm going to say out of all the moon signs, Virgo moons tend to embrace who they are a little bit more than the rest. And the reason why is because you have the capability to get things done, and it doesn't seem to be a bad thing in this world. The reason why is because we were just left from the age of Pisces, and you oppose it, basically anchoring it. Virgo moons, in the physical part of our life, anchor this insane Pisces ridiculousness, right? But you can't just stay anchoring the world. You can't live your life being a hero. There has to be parts of you that allows yourself to dive in somewhere without over analyzing it. Your life power is no longer going to be anchoring the age. Now you have to move on. You have to change the way you do things. And that means living a little, allowing yourself to be free, not doing something because it's rational, but doing something because you want to do it, because Virgo is the most pure form of life. And life is going to change. It's no longer going to be grinding for the man. It's going to be living for yourself. And that's what Virgo does. Virgo changes its needs when the times alter. You do as well. And so this is your power to do that. And so you can help bring in the whole world at a different level if you allow yourself to follow your heart blindly, because it will lead you to something you like. Another thing, embrace your sexuality. It's not dark. It's not bad. You are a sexual person. You might have had hurts and have to deal with those, some pain, trauma, abuse through your sexuality. But healing those will be one of the most beneficial things you can do because of all of the power it will bring you in your life as you go into this new age and figure out who you truly are inside. And that is your Virgo. Hi, Libra moon. This is for you. So basically, if your moon is in Libra, I'm going to tell you that you need to jet set out of your despair. Libra has the ability to utilize, I guess you could say, anxiety and fear. This is an inanimate object and it's in your moon, which is the most chaotic emotional part of you. So if you're a robot here, you can utilize your roboticness. But a lot of Libra moons find themselves in an anxious-ridden life. A life devoted to trying to find perfection because your emotions are not perfect, yet you are the closest to having the least chaotic emotions. Like the Taurus moon is exalted, but you are also Venus, just like Taurus. You're just inanimate, an inanimate Venus. The Venus that doesn't need to cuddle up with things all the time and sometimes just wants to be rigid on a journey to find something real. But if you're not on that journey, for perfection, for bettering your life and achieving your own glory, you're going to depress yourself. You're going to push yourself back. And so a big thing that I would say is that if you get up in the morning, you find yourself having a hard time, you need to force yourself into mindsets. Push yourself into the mindset. And it might break you a little bit, but you'll heal yourself and your life will be better because of it. You'll find much more power in waking up and saying, ready or not, world, here I come, and doing something that matters. It will give you confidence. It will give you glory. It will make you happy, and it will allow you to showcase your beautiful physical nature, your beautiful emotions. And yeah, that is your Libra moon. I'll talk to you later. Okay, hi Scorpio moon. This is a moon sign that is in its fall. When the moon is in Scorpio, it's fallen. It's in hell. So this is a very hard placement for anyone to have. And unfortunately, a lot of people at the turn of the new age have it. And I say unfortunately or fortunately. It brings a lot of power, but it means that there is a lot of damage and that these generations that are being born are being damaged and emotionally abused at a younger age. Because the moon is what we have when we were born. Before we find our heart, we have our body and our needs. And this would mean that your needs were probably not being met. So Scorpio has a hard time meeting their own needs and not helping other people who just want to take from them. You can't give yourself to somebody else. If you decide, I'm not going to give myself to anybody else anymore, you might find that you just sort of fake long distance relationships to keep people away from taking from you so that you can feel better, which is okay and it's good for a limited time as long as you're healing yourself during that time, healing yourself of traumatic abuse, of trauma, and understanding that you went through the depths of hell so that you could rise like a phoenix. And a way to really utilize your power is to live like it's the end of the world, like today is your last day on earth, like you might die tomorrow. If you live like that, it's morbid, but not for a Scorpio moon. You will then make the most out of your living situation every day. And this is the only way, because Scorpio moons are sort of immersed in fear. There's a lot of fear surrounding you. But if you look at it like, I could die tomorrow, you might be able to push past that fear and love yourself enough in these smaller moments to achieve something that you really want to do. If you notice in your life as a Scorpio moon, you probably always do your greatest things when your back is up against the wall, when you're in chaos and turmoil, when you're forced to move. Those are the things that you actually realize were the biggest game changers in your life. And that's what I want you to hold on to and embrace, and do that by putting these sort of like things on it. It doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. You could die. It doesn't matter where you go or what the world, if the world is burning. Are you creating something from your heart? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you doing something? Because eventually you're going to get enough power that you're going to be able to heal the world. And that's a fact. And if you look at the reason too, yes, there's a lot of trauma going on with children these days. But there's also a reason why there's a lot of you in pain who need to rise up like phoenixes and be brave to cure this trauma, to stop it. It's a lot of power that you have to be able to heal the world like that, to make it better. That comes from the trauma in your emotions. And so listening to them, they will tell you the way. They will move you by choosing to be a little bit morbid, because that's okay. It's your emotions. They have power. And they're not going to hurt you. That is your Scorpio moon, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Okay, for you Sagittarius moons, I'm going to tell you something that is very important. Your emotional nature, this divine feminine part of you, wants you to move and travel and go and never stop working your way up the mountain. If you are stagnant, you have zero luck in your life. You have zero abilities to do anything. You have to make yourself move. And this can be physically choosing to wake up and physically do something that requires moving your body. It could be emotional movement, that when you start to feel sad, to go and do something. Go into the world and attack it. Use that feeling and that hurt and that pain and trauma, and don't ignore it. Use it. Move with it. Let it tell you what to do next. Let it tell you what kind of chaos you want to inflict on the world through your musings and your wanderings and your travels. Put yourself out there artistically. Don't ever stop. Do not give up. When you face criticism, do not go into a little shell. You have to be expanding. You see, the moon rules Cancer, which is the crab who goes into its shell, right? But Sagittarius is expansion. It's basically, it's not the opposite of Cancer. I mean, it almost is, but it has like an opposite effect. Like Cancer needs to close in on itself, and Sagittarius, you need to expand. So Sagittarius moons, expand your life. Keep expanding it. Put you in bigger and better situations. Don't stop. You feel like you're too comfortable somewhere, create a little chaos in your life so that you're not any. Upheaval yourself and work that out. And that is how you can really work on your, use your emotions to better yourself. And that is Sagittarius moon. And I'll talk to you later. If you have a Capricorn moon, you are basically far from home, because the moon is naturally at home in Cancer and you are opposing it. You're ruled by Saturn, which means there's a lot of responsibility on your emotions. And in that way, you can feel like you might be very rigid or maybe even not emotional. But the truth is that you are. It's just harder and karmically you have a block on you. And so what I would say to help you remove the block, you need to admit certain things about yourself. One of the things that you need to admit is that you love being with other people. Other people are your emotional sounding boards. You don't like to be alone because then you have no one to discuss your emotions with your feelings. Because when you're there and you're experiencing your Capricorn moon, it's like, it's hard to get into. So you require other people to take it out of you, which actually puts a strong burden on the people around you. And so those are things that you have to know about yourself, that you are, in fact, burdening people. And I know that's kind of a hard thing to say because normally when you want to look at your emotions, we already feel like they're a burden, right? So here I am telling you, you actually are a burden. But I want to tell you that there is a way that you can go about this that does not burden people. You can deal with your emotions yourself. You have more power than anyone to deal with your own emotions. There's a lot of different moon signs that are consistently helping other people with theirs, and they don't even pay attention to their own. Since you already do pay attention to your own, and you're not somebody who's going to be taking on anybody else's emotions because you have walls. Capricorn builds walls. It builds buildings and structures them. You don't need anybody else. You just like it because it's easier. But you lose all of your power. When other people are responsible for your emotions, you lose your power. And Capricorn is very powerful, but you see a lot of Capricorn moons do literally nothing with their lives, or they keep trying to build tiny businesses, but they can't figure out why they're not growing, why nobody cares. And it's because people are so focused in on your emotional nature and that it's sort of chaotic, even though you don't see it as chaotic because it's structured and whatever. But other people do. And so they don't want to put their life in your hands. And you wonder why that is, because somebody could actually be way more emotionally chaotic than you and they're getting everybody's handouts, but you're not. And that's because Capricorn has to go through phases first. And when your emotions are there, you have to learn how to handle yourself and not share your details with anybody else. It could stem from an insecurity that you have that if people knew the true you, that they wouldn't love you. So you put it all on the table to see who loves you. But it's a never ending battle. What you need to do is believe in yourself. Love yourself, your body. Don't call it a flesh prison. Don't call it something evil. Enjoy it. Bask in it. Be happy about it. Don't put a lot of rules and standards on it. You already have enough, so you don't need to add any extra ones. And here's a big deal too. Don't chase after your goals. Stop it, okay? It's not for you. Chase after your dreams. Achieve your dreams, not your goals. If you're set on a goal, it's probably because you don't feel like you are brave enough or strong enough or loved enough to achieve the things that you actually want. So you put realistic goals and walls on you, which will destroy you. Chase after your real dreams. What are your dreams? Not because you're good at it, not because you found it, not because you stumbled into it and it's easy. What are your dreams? Align yourself with those, because that is what's going to make you come alive. And you're going to deal with your emotions through chasing after your dreams, through building up a new world for you. Your emotions are not going to be as hurt. They're going to feel like you're listening to them. And you might realize that all of your trauma and all the sad things that you go through stem from other people not liking you, or other people having something bad to say about you, or being frustrated with other people because, you're just not as emotional as them. But what's really happening is that you're losing yourself. You're losing yourself to your own emotions. You're losing yourself to the power that you have and the abilities that you have. And you're feeling resentful that other people don't have to go through this. In reality, all you have to do is work on your dreams and you won't have these problems anymore. I kind of guarantee you, it's kind of like got a promise to it because you're the authority of it. So be your own authority and don't share these parts of your life with other people. I know it sounds really weird because therapy is a big thing, but you are strong enough to be your own therapist. You have power. Your body is a wonderland, so treat it like one. And that is your Capricorn moon, and I will talk to you later. Aquarius moon, this is for you. Now the biggest thing, and I think the biggest issue that your emotional nature has that you want to forget about, is that it's sort of messy. There's a weird Uranus-y vibe, which is this rebellious vibe to your actual physical presence, which could mean that you are naturally like a devil's advocate. You create chaos and messes wherever you go because you repel people. They're not sort of drawn into you. There's no intrigue or mystery about you. They don't really want to be near you. And you know that. You know that, so you might start to pretend to be something different. You might start to try to work around who you naturally are. But I need you to stop depressing yourself. Stop feeling like there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's the way that you are. And then wipe your hands clean of all of the ways people feel about you. People are giving you like information about yourself. Get rid of it. It's not for you. You are the master of your own fate and the master of your own domain, and you know what you want to create. You know who you want to be. Be that. And don't worry about the rest. And I'm going to tell you that, and you might feel like you already believe that, but the truth is that if you are riding over the trauma and not facing the trauma straight on, you're just lying to yourself. I know there's a part of you that just wants to say, fuck all y'all, but if your emotions are not being met, and you're not feeling and experiencing the hurt and then looking at it in its face and saying, you're not true, and forgiving yourself for believing it, then you're just stuffing it down. The Aquarius moon doesn't have time to stuff it down because it becomes a block and a wall. And then you can't accomplish your goals. And you might realize that there's just a big mess around you, a mess in your life that you've sort of created through ignorance of your own actions at this point. Because the more you push yourself down, the more you don't take responsibility for the truth of you, reject the truth that other people have of you, but understand your own truth of yourself. If you're not doing that, you're creating a mess of your life. And you need to clean that up. You need to clean that up physically in your world, and you need to clean that up emotionally inside of yourself. You're a special human being, and you're not wrong, and you don't have to lose your emotional depth because of people's weird ideas of you and what they think they can take from you and what they think that they can't have. You don't have to be on a roller coaster of other people's intentions with you. You can be in control of yourself. And that is your Aquarius moon. And I'll talk to you. Bye. Okay, hi, Pisces moon. Now, this is for you. In order to really fully embrace your divine femininity inside of a Pisces moon, you need to take the pressure off of yourself. You need to know that everything that you do has to go with the flow. You're ruled by the deepest ocean of water, and if you don't go with the flow, you will try to emotionally dominate and control people, or control yourself, or force yourself to do things that you really don't want to do and then make excuses for it. A lot of Pisces moons, they don't actually want to be the breadwinner because they really would like to sit around and do nothing until the creative strikes. But once you get to that position where you finally get to do nothing, sometimes the creation doesn't even come into your mind because you're still worried that you're not doing anything to support everybody else. There's a lot of worry and anxiety and fear and shame that come with having a Pisces moon because of the emotional depth to your nature. And so you probably will get into a point where you just want to cut it off and pretend like it doesn't exist. But what it's doing is it's just telling you, please feel, follow your feelings, create when you want to create, and sleep when you want to sleep, and allow yourself to be okay with who you naturally are first. And then after you're okay with your baseline, make yourself better. Heal yourself. You have magical healing powers, but some reason a lot of Pisces moons don't feel like they have the power to heal who they are, and that they have to go through great lengths to kill all parts of themselves that could be your saving grace in the end. And so use who you are, use your power of going with the flow, and actually go with the flow. Do things that you feel, but you have to feel. If you don't feel, you're waiting on top and you're barely able to do anything of worth because there's like nothing being told to you except for your brain. And I promise you, your brain is not as intelligent and unique and beautiful as your emotions are. Because if you have a Pisces moon, you're a freaking magical unicorn rainbow and your brain can't compete. So don't float up here. Go down in there. Find out what your beautiful thing is. And that is your Pisces moon. And that is also the end of this entire video. So I hope you really liked it, and I will talk to you all later. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.